this going. All right. Hello. Welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans for Tuesday, December 7th, 2021. My name is Bill Soroka. I'm the author of Sign and Thrive, How to Make Six Figures as a Mobile Notary and Loan Signing Agent, and host of the Side Hustle Lounge podcast. I am here with my co-host, Laura Bewer, which is, I think, running about 4 minutes late. She is teaching right up till noon today, so she should be on here anytime. Is that Laura? No. I'm going to keep everybody muted here, so I'm just going to keep muting. If you can, please self-regulate, keep yourselves on mute as we go through today's call. I do have a couple of announcements that hopefully I can remember before we get started. That will give Laura a few extra minutes to jump on the call. First thing is this, the last 2 Tuesdays of December will be dark on TNT. Both Laura and I will be taking those last 2 weeks off from TNT. So I think that leaves us today and the following week for TNT, and then we'll take a break, and then we'll hit it hard in 2022. The other thing is, I forgot already, so it will come to me here in just a moment, but we'll get started. All right, so welcome to TNT. This is like an old-fashioned call-in radio show where notaries around the country can ask questions and interact with each other in the chat room. In fact, if you have not yet interacted in the chat room, I encourage you to find each other, exchange emails, exchange phone numbers, meet each other, and communicate that way. If you have a question, you're going to use the raise hand feature inside of Zoom. When you raise your hand, we'll call on you. Once you're called on, please just tell us what state you're in, and then jump right into your question. You don't have to give us the entire background story and all that good stuff. Just jump right to the question, and we're going to do our best to answer those. If we need backup information, we'll ask you those. All right. So let's jump in. I don't see any hands up. Is that just me? We just hanging out today? Oh, there's Tracy. Good. Tracy, I have your document pulled up too.
Okay, great.
That'll be perfect. All right. Let's pull that up. I'm going to share my screen here. And then Tracy, why don't you kind of just tell me why you submitted this and the conflict of the 2 different answers you get.
Okay. So this document I've seen a couple different times, and where it has the state of Arizona, county of Pinal up there, and then on the bottom it has the notarial act, the notarial certificate with the county of Pinal. And I understand to cross that off, initial and correct, because I'm a Maricopa when I did it. But the top where it has the state of and county of, I was told to leave Pinal one time, and then by another person was told to cross it off and put Maricopa. They said leave. The one that told me to leave Pinal said the property's in Pinal, so leave it Pinal. So I've been told 2 different ways, and I'm just wondering what everybody thinks, or what someone thinks the correct answer would be.
Yeah, great question. So we run into this particular document that you show me. This to me is a little more clear than some of them, because on some documents, this area right up here is the only venue. So you come down here and this part's not here.
Right.
So if it's going to act as your venue, it needs to be accurate and correct. So it would have to be fixed.
Right.
In this particular case, your notarial certificate is the only thing that you're ultimately responsible for. So this is the only thing that you would be compelled to change. Now, if you receive direction, now this is the document. So the only time that you would change this is if you did get instruction. If a closing agent or a lender said, would you have the borrower, the signer, make this change, they can make that change. But this would not be necessarily something that you would be responsible for.
Okay.
Or need to look at.
Okay.
The way it could be fixed, like if this was just the only area up here, and let's say this venue area was not here, you can actually stamp that in or handwrite it in to create the venue to match.
Right.
Does that help?
Yes, perfect. That's what I thought. I just, when someone told me, the one that had told me to cross off and put Maricopa, I thought, well, I'm gonna have the signers do that, not me, number one.
Right.
And so it just, the fact that I've been told two different ways, it was a little confusing, but okay, that
Totally.
helps.
That's a little bit our world there too. And then I see Laura jumped on too. Laura, how's it going? I don't know if you caught that document or that question.
I saw the document in the end, but I didn't catch what the question was.
The question was just, she's been directed here. Let me pull it up again because I just want to make sure if Laura has some feedback on that, we get that in here too. Do you see the document?
Yes.
Okay. So she's got this document where there's basically, it's almost like two different venues. She's been instructed by some to change this. And she wasn't sure if she should or not.
Because I was in Maricopa.
Yeah.
So I understand.
Yeah.
I understand to change my notarial part to, you know, but someone had told me to change that, the top to Maricopa, and then someone had told me to leave it Canal because the property was in Canal.
Yeah, I would have left the top and just changed my certificate unless I was instructed otherwise. I wouldn't be touching that one.
Yep.
All right. Perfect. We're on the same page.
Thank you.
All right. Awesome, Tracy. Thanks for sending that over. Laura, welcome. Would you like to take a minute and introduce yourself?
Sure. If anybody on this call doesn't know me, I am Laura Bewer, founder of Coach Me Laura, as well as At Your Service Mobile Notary and the founder of Notary Symposium. But it's getting too long. I can't even remember. And so I coach notaries across the United States to ensure that they're the most competent and confident they can be. And that's who I am. Bill, do we have an announcement yet for the next state, or are we still waiting?
Yeah, we're still waiting on that.
Okay.
It's not created yet. And I just announced earlier too, Laura, that the last 2 Tuesdays would be dark for TNT, that we're taking those Tuesdays off.
Thank you. I need a break.
You got it. And so we do have one more before the holiday break. We will be doing, or Laura will be doing, man, it's just one of those days. I think.
Know.
Discombobulated. So Laura's going to be doing a state-specific training for, Laura, do you want to tell them?
Yeah, Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is next. We just need to get the landing page for you guys to sign up if you're interested.
So keep your eye out for that. It'll probably come out later today or tomorrow for Pennsylvania notaries. All right. Welcome, Laura. All right, Mike Howard, thank you so much for your patience and your hand up. You want to unmute, tell everybody what state you're in and how we can help.
Sure, I'm in Arizona, and I just had a quick question. I had a signing last week. They sent me the documents, and I was reviewing them the night, after I got home, and they sent me documents for a signing that was not for borrowers that were not involved in this signing at all. It was a completed package, and that they sent with the documents needing to be signed. So I went through both sets of package and pulled the documents that were not related to these signers at all. And I confirmed just to double check to make sure that they weren't involved in it. And I hadn't heard anything from the company besides shredding those documents. Should I do anything else? Is there anybody I've reached out to let them know, but it's a little concerning when they send completed documents for another package with the file that I received, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it is. It's unnerving because that's somebody's personal information. Luckily, we're agents of integrity, so hopefully that'll be okay. I would absolutely shred them. I think you've done your due diligence. You did everything you could. It's just something that you printed, right?
Right.
So they have the originals. So that's exactly what I would do. Yeah. Laura, any other suggestions?
No, ditto.
All right.
Great. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Mike. Thanks for bringing that up. Soraya Davis from California. Thanks for being here. You want to unmute? Ask your question.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, sure can.
Hi, everyone. I have a quick question for Laura regarding California. So for the witnesses on Florida deed, is that considered to be a document witness where there's no ID, no oath, and no signature needed in the thumb journal? I mean, no thumbprint needed in the journal?
Yeah, so those witnesses for deeds in Florida, when it's required, are just document witnesses, and we do not have to collect all that other stuff for it.
Okay, all right, thank you.
All right, great question. Quick. Phil Shannon, Always lovely to see you on TNT. Are you, I notice your camera's not on. Are you there? No, oh, there he is.
There he is.
And he's on mute.
I'm here and kicking and not on mute anymore.
All right. Hey, Phil.
Hey,
What's going on?
Thanks so much for all the great stuff you guys do. I'm looking forward to my presentation right after this TNT. We had a great turnout last Tuesday. Really looking forward to another one today. My information's there. I know Bill can tell you how to get to it through his website. Also, I'm doing something with on Clubhouse with Tuesday Notary Cousins at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern in regards to benefits that are available as a notary. I'm sharing the stage with Trissy, Laura Moore, a bunch of folks. So keep an eye on Clubhouse if you haven't already seen that. Really looking forward to that, and just wanted to make folks aware and look forward to seeing you guys there soon. And it's always great to be part of this great group of great people. Over the last 2 weeks, I bet you I've sent 20 to 30 people to TNT, and all of them have come back with just rave reviews. So thanks so much for what you guys do.
Yeah, thank you, Phil, so much. And if you're interested in catching Phil's Zoom right after this call, so it's 5 minutes after TNT finishes, I'll post the link, but you can find the actual Zoom link. You don't have to register or anything. It's just the Zoom link at the bottom of the TNT registration page. So it's notarycoach.com/TNT. I posted the link in the chat there for you as well. And I'm glad Phil brought up the community, guys. I just spent a week in Dallas meeting many of you, and it was just an amazing time to get just to put faces, real life human faces to so many of the people that we see on camera all the time. So thank you for everyone who came out to Dallas. We had people fly in from Virginia, Georgia, Tennessee to hang out with us at a networking meeting outside of Dallas and Roanoke. So that was really incredible. And then I got to meet quite a few of you one-on-one after that too. I love doing that. So if you're wherever in a city near you, please reach out and let's see if we can make something happen. All right, let's look at Randy Ventures from Washington. Randy, thank you.
Hey, Bill. My question is, in Washington, statute says that an acknowledgement juror has to have the state, county, dates, and the person signing. And my question is sometimes I get in loan packages acknowledgements that say something like the signers named within or the signers above. Does that constitute the same thing as naming the person?
Great question, Laura. What do you think on that?
I would really need to read the statute for Washington closely to see if that would be acceptable. I would assume that happens to you when it's non-Washington language. Is that when that happens, Randy?
Yes.
Yeah. Let me get back to you that. Let me review the statute on the certificate sufficiency. That's where we would find it. And so if I could take a moment to look at that, I could tell you for sure. But I will tell you this, even if the answer was yes, I would only do it if the certificate was on the same page right following the signature of that signer. Meaning if the certificate was on a separate page from the signing page, I would not use it, even if we could name it that way. I think there's an added element of potential fraud. If it's just right above, the name is just right above the certificate, that's one thing. But if it's on another page, I definitely wouldn't do it.
Okay,
But
thank you.
I'll follow up with you, Randy, specifically about said signer or named within.
All right, great question, Randy. Thanks for bringing it up. Gloria Holtz, always lovely to see you on TNT.
Hi, thank you so much. I'm from California, and I have a question having to do with the interim interest payment disclosure that comes with the lender package. I get different forms of it. Most of the time, it's just 2 questions, and it's easy enough to answer. But occasionally, I get this one that's got 4 questions on it. Customers are continually confused, and so am I. They read like Greek. Are you familiar with that, or should I kind of send it to you?
Well, yeah, we've seen several versions of this and we've talked about it quite a bit. Do you have a specific question about the questions?
Yeah, basically, I mean, I read them over and I'm just as confused as the customer. So I asked the customer to call his lender. And the lender, when they're referring to escrow, is referring it to like an escrow account. This was a refinance. And the question asks if there's an escrow involved. And actually a refinance does have an escrow, but he referred to it as an escrow account and told him which one to check, which I didn't argue, but.
Gloria, I think it would probably be better if you emailed that over to me. We may not be able to do it today, but
Okay.
send it over to me and I can at least answer your question and then maybe we can bring it on next week and
Oh, okay, that'd be cool. Okay.
All right. Just make sure it's
Okay.
redacted from all personal information.
Okay, the other quick question has to do that I'm getting a lot of emails from these registries. I don't know if a couple of them didn't even appear on the review.
Yeah.
And they just keep asking me to sign up. Do we have any kind of feedback or any way to check on them?
So Carrie Rivera's last list is kind of the go-to. That's the notaryreviews.org. She's got many of those listed there. But aside from that, they're springing up all over the place. So,
Yeah.
But the general rule of thumb is without some sort of track record, you probably don't want to pay to play on these directories, right? We have those, the 3 or 4 now core directories that tend to pay for themselves if you pay for the premium listings. It's like your 123s, your Notary Rotary, obviously signingagent.com. And there's one more, Laura. What's the one more I'm missing of?
Notary Cafe.
Notary Cafe. Thank you.
Okay.
But those other ones, there's some culprits too. The USA Signing Agent, those ones, if they're emailing you and hounding you and promising you money and then asking for you to pay, there probably should all be avoided.
Okay.
There are some exceptions. The Notary Stars, they've gained some momentum. They do a good job over there. That might be one that you'd consider. Aside from that, I haven't heard of any directories that are really delivering on a sorry, he's arguing with me now. Hey, Laura, do you have any other directories that have sprung up that you've heard good things about?
No, I really stay with the tried and true ones. My favorite, not my favorite owner, but my favorite registry is 123 Notary, just because he really heavily invests, and I do get a lot of referrals from that particular one. So it's very, very much worth what I pay for, but I'm not really using signing services or registries at this time. I do have a question, Gloria. Are you a graduate of Carol Ray?
No, I'm not.
Okay. The only reason I asked is that Notary Stars has a preference for Carol Ray's graduates. And so any of those people who sign up with them, they're going to be getting work.
Oh, okay. Okay. It's a good one to keep in mind then. I'll do that.
Yeah.
The other thing that we should talk about too is that some of these directories actually do, especially some of the ones that have been created by notaries, like right here in this community, who have gone out and they've created their own directory using a template, or maybe that's just a skill set of theirs. They might have a free version of their directory. And here's the thing with a free version. It does not do any harm. In fact, it can help. When we talk about search engine optimization, if you can get a free directory listing, get it. And then you can test to see if it works. Are they delivering on their promise? Are people finding you on there? Is there a chance you can upgrade from there? The biggest piece of advice I'd have for you on directories for everyone is to make sure that your information is consistent. So make sure that your name, address, phone number appears the same on every directory listing. Make sure that your profile, if it's not exactly the same, is optimized at least. Show some personality, some passion from what you're doing. I recommend you start with LinkedIn and work your way out from there, so you can just copy and paste that into all your directory listings that way, so it doesn't get overwhelming.
Okay, good. Great advice.
All
Thank
right.
you very much to both of you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome, Gloria. Thanks for being here.
Bill,
Yeah.
I'd just like to come back around to Randy's question. Is he still on? I did
yeah,
look
great.
that up. And just for those who want to know, it is not acceptable to just say said, because they say it has to meet their short form version, and all of the short forms say name of individuals. They have to fill it in, or it needs to be what's acceptable by their law in Washington, whatever the law said, which says name of individuals. And then in terms of accepting a certificate that was performed somewhere else, if it was legal in that jurisdiction, it's okay to accept a certificate that's already been done. Like a company could accept a certificate that was performed somewhere else and said or named, if it was legal in that state where it was performed.
Excellent.
So that's my information.
I love how quick you can pull that stuff up, Laura. That's impressive.
Mhm.
And just to clarify, that's not every state, guys. That's not a rule
Yeah, it was
for all
Washington.
50 states. That is specifically for Washington. They have a law that says that. All right. Erica Montez Zavala, thank you so much for being here. Would you like to unmute? Tell everybody what state you're in and let us know how we can help.
Hi, everyone. I'm in California.
All right.
And my question is, so when you have the documents, whatever documents you're notarizing, excuse the sound in the back, my son's feeding the dogs. But when you have the documents and let's say they they don't use the full name of the as their ID, they have, let's say, Jose Uribe, and the name is Jose Uribe Rodriguez. I know I can sign them still because they have Jose Uribe, but how do I log it in my book? Do I use the full name as their ID or only as the way I'm notarizing them?
Laura, do you understand the
Yeah.
question? Okay.
Well, I think what you're saying, Erica, is that you may have a signer not using all the parts of their name. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
and you're
that's
going to notarize it, but now what you want to know is in the journal, how much do you need to record there? And the name, the field for the name is optional in the state of California. So you may use just the parts that you use to notarize. And you can add what the entire name was from the driver's license. It just depends on how much you want to document. Personally, I document what I notarize. That's the name I put in my journal as well.
Okay. Okay, great. I just wasn't sure if I had to use the full name as on their ID on my journal, or I had to use exactly what I notarized. But I guess what I'm getting from you, it's either one, right? There's no
Yes.
specific law that says you have to use the ID name on the journal.
No.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome.
Great question, Erica. Thanks for being here. All right, Deborah, welcome. You want to tell everybody what state you're in and how we can help? Oh, Deborah, I saw that you unmuted, but we can't hear you. Deborah, going once. All right, Deborah, I'm going to come back to you. I'll leave you up there, but we got something wrong with your microphone, I think. Steve-O, I think this is your first
Bill?
day here. Oh, who's that? Hold on one second, Steve-O.
Okay, I can't hear you.
Hi,
Sorry.
Deborah. Deborah, we can hear you. All right, I'm going to mute Deborah so that doesn't happen again. And then Steve-O, I see from the chat, this is your first time here. Thanks for being here. You want to tell everybody what state you're in and how we can help?
Yes, sir. I'm in Pennsylvania. Can you guys hear me right now?
Yeah, sure can. Welcome.
Great. Bill, this question was for you because I had seen from a couple of your videos that you said they're old YouTube videos, but that some direct clients like that you get a lot of work from, you charge just $125, for example, and other ones you might charge more. I had read in different blog posts and things that, maybe you go to a company and you say, if I get more than 3 signings in a day, I'll go down, from 175 to 150 or 125. But when I reached out to title companies myself, they said that structure kind of seemed confusing to them because they need to submit the fees ahead of time. And then it just makes, so I wasn't sure where I read that or if that was just somebody kind of writing something online.
Yeah, great question, Steve-O. So the important takeaway here is that there are many ways to success here. Lots of clients might find value in discounted pricing schedules like that. But what if I was just starting out or just running your business, people like simplicity. They don't like the radius thing. Oh, I'll do it for this price within 2 miles, this price within 5 miles, or if I get 6.5 signings on this day and 10 on this day, they don't want to think about it. And the cool thing is in most cases, the escrow officer is not the one paying the notary fee. So they just need to know how much can they put on the settlement statement or the closing disclosure to get this deal done. How much can they tell their client they have to pay for the notary service? Or how much do they tell their corporate office the notary is costing them? So I find simplicity is better. Now, if you get in and you start building a relationship with somebody and they're like, look, we're giving you 9 signings a day. Can you give us a break on this pricing? Then you can map that out, but I wouldn't lead with it. Keep things simple in the beginning, build the relationship, and then see what they need. They'll tell you. If you have a relationship with people that value you, they'll come to you and they'll say, hey, here's what we're facing. Do you think we can work something out?
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thanks for being here. And did you have another question, Steve-O?
I did actually. It was for Laura. I wasn't sure if you wanted me to come back to it.
Yeah, no.
But
You've got it. Go for it.
Well, it was for Laura. I had a signing recently. I'm in Pennsylvania, and we can accept different forms. Well, I'm sure you know that. But the issue was that the document was their maiden name. They had been remarried, but the only document they had was the marriage certificate. So I called the NNA hotline, and the woman that I spoke to suggested that she said it was from reading, Pennsylvania's their rules, I guess, if you want to say that, but that it was up to the notary. That if the way she described it is that if you would feel comfortable going to court saying, this was satisfactory evidence for me, the marriage certificate. But then I explained to her that's kind of personal, because what if me in the past I've had an issue with a marriage certificate, and I guess it was kind of confusing me, and I ended up not taking the signing. But I just wanted to see your thoughts on that, I guess, just as far as Pennsylvania specific. I'll be joining your Pennsylvania, your live thing. So we can kind of go over there if we want.
Yeah, we would have an opportunity to go into more fully because I would need to take a look. But here's what I would say. When I'm using supplementary evidence, meaning other things that help support that this is that person, I want to see their face with that name. So a marriage certificate doesn't have that for me. So my personal take is that's not enough for me. I would want to ask, what's in your wallet? Do you have anything that has that name with a picture on it? I don't care if it's expired. I don't care if it's not a regular ID. I just want to be able to tie your face with this name and then your face with that name. I'm just more comfortable with it that way, but I can look up the identification rules for Pennsylvania and then tell you what is allowed. And since the NNA said you could personally make that choice, I have a feeling that your ID law satisfactory evidence does not have a limitation on it like many of our states do.
Yeah, and I thought it did. That's why she kind of confused me when she said that. But after you look up the rules, you might have a better understanding. I didn't think that was acceptable, but maybe I misunderstood it. Like I have a signing tomorrow where she wants to use her concealed carrying permit for the state of Pennsylvania because her ID is. It's just things like that. I guess I'm getting a lot of those recently, but.
Okay, well, I'm happy to get back to you. I have to actually look at what the ID requirement is. So I'm just going to pull it up. I'm just using the same resources that the NNA uses. They're all the same resources. So I'll take a quick look and let's go a little longer and I can probably get back to you.
Thank you both.
All right, great. And then Nick Koval, the founder of Jurat Inc. and the Notary e-Journal, he just messaged me. He wants to touch on Steve-O's first question about the pricing for escrow officers. So Nick, do you have a second? Can you come up?
Hey, thank you so much for calling me up. Microphone check. Can you guys hear me?
Sure can.
Awesome. So I love this chat, and I love to chime in when I can. Being married to a very high volume escrow officer who's in upper management, I get a different take on certain things. And this question, Steve-O, that you brought up, I just wanted to bring up something about it because many people don't realize when it comes to your pricing. Now, every company is different. My wife works for F&F Chicago Title Company. Many of the bigger places that do require approval for you to work with them, they typically have you also fill out a fee sheet. And I haven't heard many people talk about this often, and they don't typically enforce it very often. But when you go for approval, and this wouldn't be under a signing service, this would be to be approved to work independently. A lot of times they'll have you fill out what you would charge, and you are supposed to adhere to that fee schedule. Many notaries don't. And so the problem we see is that, of course, it could create a pricing conflict where the escrow officer would have quoted maybe $150 for an in-house fee, and you just slap on an invoice for $200, and that's an issue. But it also creates a little bit of structure for them to be able to predict what the cost is going to be if they use you on a regular basis. And again, not very often do they enforce it, but it could be one of those things. It could be the final straw. And they say, you know what, this notary, he's messed up a few times and he doesn't stick to his fee sheet, so we're not going to go with him anymore. So just something to think about, because that fee sheet is very important to remember if you're getting approved independently. Thanks for having me up, guys.
Great.
Yeah, thank you, Nick.
Thanks for that, Nick. Appreciate it. All right, Steve, thanks for being here. Glad you made it. And I hope we were helpful. All right, Deborah. Okay, Deborah, did you see my message? Were you able to work that out? Doesn't sound like it. I can't hear you. Deborah, I'll keep you up here. All right, Cassie Creech, nice to see you up. You want to unmute, tell everybody what state you're in and how we can help.
Hey, everybody. Hey, Bill. Glad to be here. I don't get to come often right now. So, but my question is, I have a loan modification tomorrow, and the wife is the one who is on the documents, but she's overseas, and so the husband has power of attorney. I sent the documents back, or sent a message to the company saying there's no language. The language does not indicate that this is going to be a power of attorney signing. And so when they submitted it back, they just said have the husband sign as POA for the wife, but they still didn't change any of the language in the documents. And specifically, of course, my question is on the notarial certificate, where it has the line for the wife to sign, and it just has her name under there. It doesn't say anything about POA. Question is, can I print his name for her in the language that they're asking, and then have him sign like that? Or should it actually be printed out by the company? I hope that makes sense.
Yeah. So just to clarify, the question is literally just, can you handwrite it versus typing it?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Now, going into it, like if I had a little bit of prep time for the notarial certificates, I might prep the notarial certificates ahead of time in that case, because that's a lot of because that's, John Smith or Edna Smith by John Smith as attorney. In fact, that's a lot of handwriting for me. And that's my notarial certificate. So if you had time, you might prep those ahead of time.
Yeah, I definitely will. Yeah. Okay. That was it.
Great. Okay, great. Thanks for being
you.
here. Good to see you.
You too.
Bill?
Yes. Hi, Laura.
I'd like to come back to Steve-O about the ID.
Yeah. Great.
So actually, Pennsylvania does specifically indicate, and I'm going to tell you, Steve-O, that it says satisfactory evidence is going to be a passport, driver's license, government issued non-driver's ID card, which is current and unexpired, or another form of government ID issued, which is current and has a signature or photograph of the individual and is satisfactory to you. Otherwise, you'd have to go to credible witness. So nowhere in there does
Yeah.
it
And
say
that's what
that
confused me.
a marriage certificate is going to be acceptable? So
Yeah.
for
I don't know.
me, it's a big no. She's got to come up with something else, like an expired. Well, actually, for you, it can't even be expired. She's got to have something else or go to a credible witness. I wouldn't use a marriage certificate. I wouldn't use it even in a state where it might be okay, just because, again, there's not enough to it for me.
I understand. All right. Thank you very much.
Okay, you're welcome.
All right, great. So, okay, so Deborah, there's something funky going on with the microphone, but Laura, she has a question for you in Laura Biewer Presents. Okay, so she is working through the modules in there about working more efficiently. And she says how you use the borrower's copies to work more efficiently. Are the borrowers signing the copies in front of them, or are they signing your copies because you're passing them across the table to them?
So I'm trying to think which module that would be in, but what I might have been referring to is when I have two sets of documents that because I've done the printing, then I give them one set, I look at one set, and I direct them from the set I'm looking at in front of me, and they're signing on their own set in front of them. When I'm done with presenting however many documents there are to be done that way, I go back through and do my QA. And at that time, that's when I'm filling out the certificate portion. So I'm not pushing paper back and forth. Does that make sense, Deborah?
Yes,
in the
thanks.
chat?
She says, yeah,
okay.
She says, yes, thank you.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Deborah. Thanks for hanging in there to ask a question too. All right, Carol Eastman, thank you for being here. You want to unmute, tell everybody what state you're in and how we can help.
Okay, I'm in California.
All right.
And I'm new to loan signing. And I have my first signing tomorrow. And I see something that I had a question on, and it's a HELOC. And it has the gentleman's name. And then over on the side, it says seal in parentheses.
Oh, yeah. Love this. This gets really confusing in the beginning, and then trust me, in a couple of weeks, it won't be anymore.
Okay.
But it gets really confusing because your notary stamp is also called your notary seal. So
Right.
it makes you question things. But seal is just a really old fashioned way of saying signature from back in the day. So that all that means is he's supposed to sign there.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome. Welcome to the biz. And congratulations on your first signing.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Thanks for being here. All right, Quintus, nice to see you on today. Quintus, if you'd like to unmute, tell us what state you're in and how we can help.
Hi, thank you, Bill, for taking my call. I'm from New York, and I have a question with regard to making copies of IDs on the Patriot Act. Yesterday, I went to a signer. I went to a signing where the instructions called for to make copies of the Patriot Act. One ID was the driver's license, and the other, I told them to make a copy of the security card. But it just so happened that the title closer was there, and she said, "Oh no, don't make copies of the Social Security card. You're not supposed to make copies of the Social Security card under any circumstances." And I thought, you're not supposed to make copies of the military ID.
Right.
But I choose why she would say that, but I just went with, because I figured the title closer probably have more experience than I did. So I just was like, okay, I just wrote down the Social Security number on the Patriot Act and not have them make a copy of the Social Security card. So my question is it against the law to make copies of Social Security cards?
As far as I know, it's not illegal to make copies of Social Security, but I like a title company that is concerned over information security, right? That's somebody who's like, I don't want responsibility for that. That's why they don't want a copy of it. So that's kind of refreshing in some ways, but most people do accept copies of the Social Security.
Oh, okay.
So
And then
it's their company policy, not a law.
Oh, okay. Then my other question is, in terms of procedures, I went to the same, I had a situation where I prepped the docs prior to the closing. And then the closing attorney was telling me that the title closer is supposed to notarize the documents. And then I was like, well, I already prepped the docs. Why would the title closer? Because according to him, it is their procedure that the title closer prep the docs. But I just found it, find it rather awkward that the closing attorney would suggest that the title closer would notarize the documents, which I felt like I did all the work in terms of prepping the documents. Why would they have the title closer notarize the documents? I don't know if it makes any sense.
It sounds like
like they don't trust me. I don't know if it's like the lack of trust with notaries. They prefer using the title closer to.
It could be. It also just might be maybe a misunderstanding of how a mobile notary works on the attorney's part. And that actually happens quite a bit. Sometimes they don't realize that you're acting almost as an extension of the title closer. You're the mobile component of the title closer.
Oh, because
even the attorney
did all the presentation, which I didn't mind, the closing attorney doing that. But when it came to notarizing the documents, I felt like if I'm prepping the documents, why would the title closer be involved with notarizing the documents?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that's all about. If you're there, you're the one witnessing the signature, you're the one delivering the oath, then you've got to be the notary. So was he just expecting to send a bunch of unnotarized documents to somebody who wasn't ever in the room with those people and just have them notarize it?
No, I guess whatever their procedure, he was expecting the title closer to notarize the documents. And the closing attorney would explain the documents to his clients, which I have no problem with him doing. But I just felt like I did all the preparation and I guess prepping the certificates. Why have the title closer?
Well, I don't think but regardless of your prep time in it, that doesn't matter. You are the mobile notary. You're there to serve that exact purpose. So it sounds like the attorney might just be confused as to what's going on, and maybe he's bitter because the title closer he has a relationship with is not in the room doing the job he wanted her to do. I don't know. I don't know what the situation there would be.
Okay. All right.
But I mean, your job is to literally be the notary, right?
Right. And I guess the title closer generally has a function as well. They can notarize documents as well, right? As title closers.
Maybe if they're
only if they're a
public.
notary.
Yeah, they got to be a notary public though. So.
Okay.
But that would be normal. I mean, a lot of times that's why they're calling you in. They're too busy to come in and do it. Like over here on the West Coast, Quintus, we have escrow officers, and they're almost every one of them is a notary public for the state that they're in. They could theoretically sit and close and sign all of these closings, but they're too busy. It's not a good use of the time. So they bring in notaries like you and I to handle that for them. So that's usually how it goes. Maybe the attorney was just confused over that aspect. I don't know. It doesn't make sense.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah, well, thanks.
Yeah, you bet. Thanks for being here. Learn something new every day. Crystal Davis, thanks for being here. You want to unmute, tell everybody what state you're in and how we can help.
Hey, y'all. How are y'all? I am in Georgia.
All right.
Yeah, Georgia. I wanted to know, do you all know about, I do go on our Secretary of State on the website to see for us as notaries, but do you all know anything about Ron coming to Georgia? That's what I want to know is Ron, do you all know anything before we do? I know I'm here, but it seems like other people know more than we do. I'm just being honest, because we don't hardly have anything on for us as notary signing agents. Like we don't, and we're not supposed to even say that as a notary public, but they don't share a whole lot on there as far as notary. So that's what I want to know.
I have not specifically heard whether or not Ron is going to Georgia, although I have this memory of something kicking in 2022. But I would reach out to Samantha Smith of the Georgia Notary Network. And if you're not dialed in there, Crystal, I would get dialed into that community because they're the ones that are going to be first to know. Because once one person hears, hundreds could hear.
Okay, thank you.
You're so welcome. Thanks for being here. And if there's anybody on the call right now that has information about remote online notarization in Georgia and when or if it's coming, feel free to type that into the chat window. All right, Gabriel Castillo Molina, thank you so much for being here. You want to unmute, tell everybody what state you're in and how we can help.
Hey, Bill, how are you? This is Gabriel. I'm in California, and I want to thank you because almost 3 years I spoke to you saying that I want to get into the business, and I was afraid because English is not my first language, but I've been doing this for almost 2 years and a half, and I want to thank you for that. And my question is for Laura. I have a document for tomorrow that is a certification of trust. The signature, it is electronically. So my question is, in California, do they need to sign the document again because the signature, it is already on the document? So as notary in California, can we notarize documents that they have the signature electronically?
No. If it's a paper, then it has to have an original signature. An electronic signature that's been printed on paper is no longer original. The original is the electronic signature on screen. So they would just need to sign it again and no problem. You can notarize it.
Okay, so they need to sign it. Okay, so that was my question. So thank you, Laura. Thank you, Bill, and have a great day.
All right, you're welcome, Gabriel. Thank you for being here and thank you for sharing that. Congratulations. I'm glad you found the courage to move forward on your business. Sibella, well, thank you for being here. You want to unmute?
Hey,
tell everybody
Bill.
what state you're in. Hi.
Yes, I am in Florida and I'm driving, but I have a quick question. Thank you for taking my question. It's for you,
Sabella, unfortunately, Sabella, unfortunately, you're
fairly new with BankServe, but I've done quite a few signings for them. But my question is, I only get, can you? Can you?
Sabella, it's way too choppy. I'm so sorry. I'll leave you up here, but maybe you can find a place to stop and I'll come back to you. Denicia Colbert, thank you so much for being here. You want to unmute and tell everybody what state you're in?
Sure. Hi, I'm from California. So I apologize if this was already asked. I joined a little late, but a couple other fellow notaries and I had a conversation about whether or not we should mark the pronouns when they're on the notarial certificate. And so I couldn't find any laws related to that, but I wanted to know if either of you were aware of best practices as far as if we should or should not mark pronouns.
Yeah, great question. We get this quite a bit. So I am not a fan of circling the pronouns and neither are my clients. They actually prefer that we not circle those. And there's a lot of different reasons for that. My clients are OCD and they don't want the notarial certificates messed up. Mm-hmm. But now with gender neutrality and things like that, there's actually suggesting that you not do that unless you're specifically instructed to do so. Laura, do you have some feedback or guidance since she's specifically in Arizona or in California?
Yeah, in California, the recommendation is you don't do it. Unless somebody has specifically instructed you, the law doesn't instruct us to do it. So don't do it.
Very simple. Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you both.
You're welcome. Yeah, thank you so much for being here.
Hey, Bill, can I ask a quick follow-up to that?
Yeah, sure, Randy. What's up?
So sometimes there's an ID affidavit and it says you put your name and it says the attorney / notary. Do you recommend crossing out the word notary or crossing out the word attorney on that one since we're not attorneys?
Laura, do you have a suggestion on that?
I'm trying to think how I do it. You could, I don't think it matters. You could strike the word attorney, you could circle the word notary. What it's saying is you're the attorney or the notary. That's what that phrase is saying.
Yeah, I don't ever if I can avoid scratching out something, I avoid scratching out
I
something.
try not to do it, but you could circle notary if you felt you wanted to be sure they understood you're not an attorney. But when I see that attorney / notary, it means you're one or the other.
Great questions. Sabella, are you in a better spot now?
I think
I'm gonna say no. You're not. Sorry, Sabella. Sorry,
Can
Sabella. I gotta be.
hear
No, sorry.
me?
We're gonna move on. Sorry, Sabella. Melissa Dominguez from California. Thank you so much for being here. You want to unmute? Tell us how we can help.
Hi, Bill. Hi, Laura. A lawyer. It's lawyer's paper, so it's not a loan signing, but a person got in an accident with another person. Anyway, he's trying to get his own counsel. So I guess this new lawyer sent the paperwork for him to sign, but like a lot of it was blank, like the important stuff, like how much percent and all this stuff. But the signing service said, well, that's okay. When the lawyer actually meets with them, then they'll get it completed. Just have him complete as best he can, the most he can. So I wasn't sure if in loan signing, I know you shouldn't leave pertinent information blank, but in other general notary work, would that be still, you're not supposed to leave it blank?
Is the document notarized?
No, that's another thing. There was no notification. And then he lost his ID, but they said everything was okay. So there was nothing to be notarized though. So I thought, well, okay, it should be okay.
If there's nothing notarized, then you take off your notary public hat. That no longer matters. So if you are being hired to be a signature gatherer or a form filler outer, then whoever's hiring you, follow their instructions.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just
that would be my advice. Laura, any other advice? Oh, you're on mute. She's so good.
Okay, so I agree that when I am just out to collect signatures, it's not my business if they don't have all their information. If it's not notarized, then it's not my issue.
Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you so much.
All right, you're welcome.
Bill, I don't know
Hi.
if you can hear me.
Yes,
I think you can
perfect.
hear me now. Can you?
Yes, loud and clear.
Oh, that's great. Thank you. My quick question, I am fairly new with BankServe, but I'm done a variety of signings for them, no problems, no complaints, thank God, no mistakes. But I can only get blast invitations for signing. I can never get a regular schedule sign.
I think she's turning
So
off her
sorry, hold
alarm.
on a second. I'm sorry. I came too quick to my internet and forgot to turn the alarm off. So I never get a regular schedule signing. I can only receive with them blast signings, like last minute signings. I was never able to get a schedule. And I maybe it's because I'm new with them, but I wonder if you guys have any suggestions or any tips regarding that.
Yeah. Well, Laura, have you worked with BankServe before?
Yeah, I do work for BankServe still.
And they call you directly, right?
They call me directly. Yeah.
How does that happen?
Well, my phone rings and I pick it up. I answer it. So they call me. Typically, they call me because if they've already tried to get notaries to fill something at a certain price point and they didn't get it, and I'm a higher price notary, they will hire me in those situations or in last minute situations. They will call me and say, oh my God, we need a notary. Can you help us out? Because I'm going to charge them a lot more than what most notaries are charging them. So I'm called directly. I don't get a text. I don't get a blast. I don't get anything else from them other than phone calls.
How did you build that relationship with them?
I think I started with them the day they opened. They've been around a long time and I've been around a long time. And I think I've just been in there, and I've always gotten phone calls. I've never been part of the blast. I've never worked that way for me.
And then Kalani and Terry say they call them direct as well. And I would imagine that came, and maybe Kalani and Terry in the chat, and Julie, you can post in there. I would imagine the relationship starts very similar to what you're going through, Sabella, where they send out blasts. You start to get a little bit of a reputation as somebody who knows their stuff and knows what they're doing. And then the schedulers, when they know they need something done, they're going to start remembering you. And there's also probably a way to follow up in the order, whoever the scheduler is, to build those relationships, to stay in touch and find out, ask them, how can I get more signings in this area? See if you can get on a preferred list. And then you get first dibs on those things. Yeah, Terry says it's all about the relationships. That Julie says the scheduler has their email and phone number on the order. So there you go. You have
they do.
all the information you need to start cultivating a relationship.
Okay.
But if you can get it, I'm going to tell you, BankServe's really a good company to get work from. They pay very timely, they pay fairly, and their packages are good.
Yeah, I love working with them. I was just trying to avoid, well, you have 30 minutes to get this done, and that's all I get now, which I'm okay. I'm fairly new with them, and I accept that position. I was just trying to see how can I move forward eventually, so I can get a little bit of more like a heads up, and not only take care of the the last minute signings, which is all I get so far. But I'm very grateful as well, because I'm really enjoying working with them.
Awesome. That's a great feeling.
Yeah.
I'm glad you got your foot in the door with them. And I would say there's no rules, Sabella, in building relationships, right? There's no rules that says, oh, I shouldn't reach out to them. I shouldn't say this. I shouldn't do that. Whatever you do naturally to build relationships with people, I would do that. If it's natural for you, or you want to press or expand your horizons and your boundaries a little bit, and send a thank you card. Thanks for hooking me up with a signing, or thank you email. If all you have is their email, send it. That level of gratitude goes a long way.
Yeah.
Especially if it's authentically who you are anyway.
Thank you. And please come to Florida, both of you.
I will definitely. I got to Florida a couple years ago and did a whole notary tour through the entire state, and I loved it. Loved you guys out there. So we'll make that happen again. If not next year, then 2023 is Florida.
Thank you.
Yep,
thank you for taking my call.
Absolutely my pleasure. All right. I think we might have time for one more question. It looks like it's Steve-O again. Steve-O, is this a new question, or was this your old question?
It was a new one, but you can ask Debbie or Celicia, because I already went. That's fine.
Very kind of you. Debbie, what do you say? You want to unmute? All right.
Thank you very much. I was following on to the question about the Patriot Act document, and I was with an escrow officer at the signing, and I think it was the wife. Her second form of ID was a credit card. She did have a driver's license, so I had the picture ID, but it required 2 forms of ID, and her second one was a credit card. And the escrow officer said, oh no, we won't write down the credit card number at all, which I had been doing. So I'm not sure. I didn't do it for that signing, because she already told them that it wasn't required and it was her document.
Yeah. I do the same thing. So I don't write down the entire credit card number, because that's vulnerable information. I write down the last 4 digits of the credit card. And then the rest of the pertinent information in the Patriot Act form.
Right.
And that will suffice. And if you do make a copy, or they make a copy, and sometimes they'll do that. They'll just make a copy and they'll have all their information on it. So you can black it out. up to the last 4 digits
Yeah.
with a permanent marker. Worst
Okay,
case
thank
scenario.
you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. All right, guys, we are right at the 1 hour mark. Debbie, that was a perfect question to end us on. Thank you so much for that. And Laura, thank you for joining us, even though I know you're busy teaching. So we're going to say goodbye, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us and growing yourself and your business on a Tuesday afternoon. We'll see you next week. Same time, same place for Tuesday Notary Titans. See ya.